He's the voice of the urban millennial, a public speaker, event manager, and has received a top 30 under 30 award by HBCUBuzz.com. But today, he's here to talk about entrepreneurship and what it means to market yourself. The social media whiz, Carson Byrd, joins us to share what I wish you knew about brand development. Hello, everyone. My name is Yasmin Arrington, and welcome to I Wish You Knew. Today is a special day because Carson Byrd joins us as our first guest of the season. He is a star athlete, world traveler, educator, and more. That means we have a lot to talk about. But first, let's introduce the panel.
What's up? I'm Waynika.
Hey, I'm Zeppelin Tillman.
So Carson, thank you so much for joining us on the show. You're our first guest of the season, and we're excited to have you. So if you could just start off by telling us who you are and give us a little bit of background about you.
Okay. Thank you for having me. Like I said, my name's Carson Byrd. I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio. Done a lot of cool things in my life, seen a lot of things, and just really excited about pushing the culture forward for the urban millennial. African American and Hispanic millennials, 18 to 35, just understanding our culture, the way we move, the way we think, what we like to do, what we don't like to do, and just trying to be a medium for other demographics to help better understand our thought process.
Nice.
Why do you think that's important? I mean, obviously, us being a part of that, we understand why, but why do you feel like it's important that somebody serves as that voice and, somebody, represents us the way you've been doing it?
I think it's based on my household. Like, right. I grew up with baby boomers. Right. So our whole concept of the way we were raised and the choices and decisions that we're making now don't correspond to sometimes the way we were raised.
Absolutely.
So now you have certain people, I'm not gonna say pass judgment, but they just, they just don't get it. And I think we're the first generation that really is living to the beat of our own drum, doing whatever we want to do, when we want to do it, how we want to do it, but within consciousness.
Yeah.
But a lot of people can't understand that because of how we move.
Absolutely.
So I just want to kind of bridge that gap.
Yeah.
So give us an example, of what baby boomers, what their traditional thought process may be in terms of, life, college, career, and then kind of how millennials are now. What's the difference?
Well, like I said, I'm a recession baby. I was born in 1988, coming out of the recession in the 80s with Reagan, and then I graduated college in 2011 into the second recession.
Right.
So I was raised to, structured. I played football, and from middle school you go to high school. From high school you go to college. From college you get a job. There's no jobs. So now you've told me to be successful all my life. Like, success is marriage, house, car, all of those things. And now it's not a system in place for me to flourish. So I got to create my own flourish. I'm going to take these risks. I'm going to do that. 27, my mom and my father were married at 27. I'm single, trying to figure things out, trying to understand what life is for me. It's just a different generation. So, you got some people that's still within that mode within our generation, and it's sometimes hard. You see it on social media. Man, she got married, but at the end of the day, I'm chasing a dream. So a lot of us are chasing our dreams.
So, what would you say has been your biggest challenge, being a millennial and trying to, I guess, explain or get people to understand where you're coming from?
I think it was it was an internal challenge, based off the structure that I was raised in. Freedom of their mind is key to success. And we, in America, especially in the African American community, have been programmed to do X, Y, and Z. So when you go against the grain, are you a visionary? You the first one to the market, everybody thinks you're crazy. I started this 2 years ago, and now everybody's a millennial expert. When I was doing it, where's your job? What are you doing?
Right.
What's next? My dad's calling, I'm worried about you. You just, it's hard.
Right.
It's hard. You're the last one, and then, but that's the blessing of being a leader.
Yep.
Whenever you're doing something and you feel a lot of restraint, that means you're going the right way. So I just take it in stride now.
Talk to that point, because you touched on it, but obviously parents are super impactful and they mean a lot to us. But when you're going against the grain, a lot of times they might not understand it. How did you deal with some of those conversations with your mom and with your dad, trying to let them know, hey, I see this vision, you all might not see it, but just kind of trust me here, work with me here, don't fight me because I need your support?
Yeah, well, it was twofold because they two separate people. You know, my mom is an entrepreneur, visionary, you know, go.
Right.
But in that life, you know, she's figuring some things out now because like she's taking on the millennial atmosphere herself, going back out into the entrepreneur field and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And my dad, military, structure.
Wow.
You know, got a house, got a car, got this, got married. I'm worried about you, son.
Yeah.
Where's your structure? Where's your house? Where's your da-da-da-da-da? I moved from China to London, from London to DC to LA. Like, okay, when you gonna slow down? And it's like, I haven't found it yet.
Right.
You know, I'm on a quest right now. And for him, you're a man. And a man is to provide, protect, you know. And I'm like, I am a man, but I'm doing it my way.
Right.
So it was a struggle because, you know, doubt starts to creep in, you know. You start to look around, but I'm learning in life, you just gotta keep your blinders on. And eventually, you know, it'll open up.
Right.
So really quickly, what is success? What do we feel like success is as millennials?
I think for us, we define that for ourselves. That's the difference between us. Like our parents, it's been set in stone. You get a good government job, honey. Even if you did not go to college, you get a good government job. You work there for years. You stay in that one place. You get a house. You're successful. I think for us, we're on a quest to be happy in a sense. Like we want to do something that is fulfilling to us. And a part of that is social media, and we see it, and we see the things that can be attained in doing certain things. So some of us are chasing those things, and for some people, it'll be the money. But I know for me, it is for sure to be happy. I want to be content in all that I'm doing. I want to feel like I'm not working. So that's success for me.
Hold that thought. We have to take a break, but when we come back, we'll continue with more on seizing the opportunity. Welcome back to I Wish You Knew. We're talking to millennial entrepreneur Carson Byrd about what it means to brand yourself and how to do it. So Carson, how did you come up with your brand or your hashtag, Just Know I'm Working?
Oh, man. I was living in China back in 2013, and my cousin sent me a Facebook message, and he was just like, man, what are you doing? And I felt obligated to explain because most of my life I've been explaining because I've always been different. So I was trying to always explain what I'm doing. And I just got to a point, I got tired and I replied, just know I'm working. Kind of like a smart remark, but it took off. He put it on his Facebook. It was on my other cousin's Facebook. And then I was like, okay, I didn't mean for it to take off. I really meant it in a smart way, but then I started developing it, you know, and I started to figure out what it was in a brand. And I really think as I've grown, it's morphed because a lot of people think it's about me, but it's really about Luke 2 in the Bible is one of my favorite scriptures, and it's based on Simeon. He was faithful, devout, and just. And the whole message that God wanted to convey to him is, while you're waiting on your blessing, just know I'm working. So we about to rebrand everything, you know. I think it's the 2016, what would Jesus do?
Right.
You know, I think it's something, it's a battle cry for all millennials because we in this fight trying to figure things out, and sometimes you want to quit, and it's just like, just know I'm working, because whatever you believe in, it's going to come to pass.
So like, how important is faith? Because I know in our generation, everybody's kind of doing their own thing. I think because we want to be such rebels, we are turning away from what our parents have taught us, and even some of us what we know to be true. So how important do y'all think faith is in general in y'all daily life?
It's extremely important. I mean, the first thing I do every morning I wake up, I pray. I try to read my Bible. It still serves as like that foundational grounding for me to kind of like know that these principles have been here for thousands and thousands of years. And it gives me those sorts of core values to kind of understand that, you know, because we're still young. We think we know a lot, but there's so much that we don't know. And I think that being able to kind of lean on something that's whatever it is higher than us allows us to be able to kind of get through that grind of not that cookie cutter mold that, you know, Carson was kind of talking about a bit earlier. So that's, for me, just kind of what faith and spirituality represents.
For me, I have really big aspirations and desires and things that I want to accomplish in life, right? Not just for myself, but for my family, my future family, and for others. And oftentimes, when I look at where I want to be and where I am, of course, it doesn't line up, right? So it is essential for me to have faith in things that are not seen and to believe that that is already it's already there for me, and that I'm going to walk into it when it's time, right? In God's time. So, yeah, faith is absolutely essential.
It's similar for me because I know growing up, I always heard the fruit of everything. I heard what we will get, you know, but as I get older and I read the word for myself, I'm realizing there's a sacrifice that takes place. So it's very important for me. Like, I can't just talk about everything works for the good of them but like, if I love the Lord, that means that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, that he's asked of me, right? So I can't just expect the fruit and the blessings if I'm not putting in harvest, if I'm not investing in it. So I know for me, that has been important because nothing will ever be perfect. And like, I'm at that point where I'm coasting and I'm like, Lord, like, what am I supposed to be doing? So I find myself on my face all the time about that. So I know faith is very important for me because that's what helps me get by.
Carson, when you talk about social media, you've obviously done a lot in that space, had a lot of great success in that space. There is a connotation of narcissism and arrogance that comes with people, though, who push themselves a lot on social media, right? How do you find that balance between the two of obviously knowing where you kind of stay rooted and grounded, but yet knowing that you still have to push yourself to a certain extent and for your own personal brand?
Well, that is, I'm glad you asked that question because that was a struggle this year. 2016 has been probably the biggest growth part for me in my personal life. Not in my brand, but in my personal life, who I am as a man. And I will say you have to keep good people in your circle because I think the biggest issue that I see in a social media generation is what we put on social, like your brand is not always who you know, you might have different nuances. You know, I met a girl, she's a health expert, but I've seen her eat fried chicken. And they'd be like, oh, you're a liar. Like, no, she's not, she's a human.
Right.
And that's really what it is. It's like I'm selling something, but me as a man, I'm whole. So people always think that I'm selling myself, and it's like, it's brands. Yeah, so it's a lot of nuances. You got to be grounded in your faith and understand who you are, and it's a process because people that know me genuinely know me. Gotcha. So what I'm doing now, I've been doing this since I was 13. Right. When I was 13, I told my mom I was gonna get paid for being Carson Byrd. Wow. Like, that's what I said. I want my life is gonna be evolved about me, not in a narcissistic way, but I grew up, my idol was Sean Puffy Combs. I never seen a guy get paid just to be himself. Absolutely. From branding, from products, from music, from merchandise. So as I evolve, so does my product and my brand.
So really quickly, Carson, what is your advice for millennials who want to brand themselves or come up with a brand? Right.
I will say, if I could give anybody the biggest amount of advice, is you have to understand that you can't live in two worlds. You can't want to be normal and have like normal stuff and also want to be this big time brand, because they don't coexist. You know, if you want to be a chef, you no longer can also want to be, I guess you don't want people not looking at your plate. Like, you're now exposed, you're naked, you know, and that was probably one of the hardest things for me because I'm a very, very private person. I'm a Scorpio. I don't like really people to know much about me, but I'm a public, you know, person. You're putting yourself out here. Yeah, you're going out naked.
Yeah, well, hold that thought. Okay. We have to take a break here, but stay tuned for more with Carson. Be sure to share your branding ideas with us using the hashtag Branding101. Yes. We're back. Thanks for sticking with us. Social media is a huge part of branding for our generation. So Carson, how have you built up a strong social media presence?
I've been on social media since Black Planet, you know.
Wow.
So,
That's the throwback.
yeah,
Wow.
like I've been in the game for a minute. Not in terms of branding, but
Yeah.
I was always hip to it.
Using it.
And then we got on the MySpace,
Yup.
and the MySpace was crazy. Being
Yup.
in somebody's top 8 like meant something back then.
That was
Like
the thing.
you special,
Yup.
you know. And then Facebook, I really didn't use it as a term of branding. That was my personal space.
Sure.
But in 2009, I got introduced to Twitter.
Oh.
And it was like the way I got introduced to Twitter is how I created my brand. In college, you know, big man on campus, people was talking about this, gossiping. And I was like, I simply asked, was like, where y'all get all this information from me?
Right.
CarsonByrd.com. And people just start cracking up, like, you got a website?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. But I was like, all right, here it is. This is my
Right.
brand. I'm CarsonByrd.com.
Okay.
And so through the years, just kind of finding your space, finding your niche. I think a lot of times now people are fishing to see what's gonna catch instead of being genuinely who they are. Because like I see certain people on that I know personally,
Yeah.
like, bruh, you know what I'm saying? He don't
Yeah.
know, but that tweet got 500 retweets. I'm gonna keep tweeting like this. So this is my brand, and I'm just gonna do this. But the thing is like once you catch a brand, you gotta live it.
Right.
So it's like if you catch on something that you're not really, what you really are not about,
Yeah.
it's like, whoo, it's gonna be hard.
Right.
So
And we-
basically, like, to keep it interesting, brand something that you're into so that when you talk about it, when you're out, whatever the case is, you're passionate about it. And people want to hear you talk about it because they know you like it. So don't just do something because it's trending at the moment per se, but do something that you actually want to brand, that you want to put out to the people.
or something that like people say like experts, but I'll be honest with you, like experts is all based on the audience in which that expert is speaking to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I done met certain people that are experts, but in something that I know wholeheartedly about. So I might not receive them in their interaction the same way as someone else might. And that's a key about social media.
Yep.
Because it's like you got to cartel your following
Yep.
based off of what you're speaking to.
Yeah.
So when I'm saying the voice of the urban millennial, my Instagram is pretty enough that my mom can go and not feel no type of way.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because she can introduce me to something that I might need. And it's also engaging enough that you could follow and be like, okay, I like what he got going on. And then, like I said, 2 years ago when I was doing this, it was, you know, and just that's how stuff is changing.
Right.
It's like, it's changing very fast. Just stay consistent.
I would love to hear everybody's take on this though, because it seems like for guys it might be a bit easier. For women, it seems like when we talk about social media following, social media growth, there's a certain perception that kind of goes into like the ones that have the high follower counts. Right? I mean, I think we all know what we're talking about. It's like the women who focus more on their
Instagram
body and
models,
their
as
beauty,
they say.
right? Than other things. Whereas for guys, what Carson's talking about, it seems to kind of be built off of knowledge and like what he's doing. I don't know. Do you all kind of see that same sort of perspective of like women versus men on social media?
I do, in the sense that, like, because for women, it's okay to be vain. You know what I mean? We could post selfies and no one
why
will
is it okay?
really. I mean, that's just how society
Yeah,
perceives it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they're like, oh, it's okay. You could post pictures of yourself, and it's okay. That's her brand. That's what she does. For instance, like Kim Kardashian or anybody, they post selfies. That's their brand when they post naked things, and that's her. Literally, that's her brand. So for her, it's strategic and it's smart. But then for the everyday person who isn't making the millions yet, you know, I don't know if that makes that much sense. But you know, I think everybody should do what they want. But I see it because I'm conscious of what I post because I don't want to be perceived that way.
Well, I'll say this. I've seen professional women, and including myself, you know, very strategic about what I post and how I post. And, you know, I have my hashtag Yazzie Speaks, hashtag Reverend Arrington. And so I try to line up things with that, right? But then there is this sort of, for me, I feel like I want to have an aesthetic value. So I want people not only to listen and understand what I'm trying to say or what I'm saying, but also catch their eyes. And I feel like, but that would be the same with a male as well. I mean, I saw your social media and it caught my eye, you know. So, but that's an interesting point that you raised, though.
It's on both sides though. I do think what you get into it is social media is very different based on the sexes.
Right.
Like a male social media versus a female social media is two totally different
But it depends
things.
on what your brand is, though, because the bodybuilders, I mean, they're constantly, I mean, their bodies and everything is all up on your
making money.
screen.
Like they
Not all the time, not always.
But too, honestly, women are more judged for it. Like, it's so like, oh, it's a thirst trap. Oh, it's this, is that. When guys do it, they don't really receive it that way. Like,
macro. Like, look at the macro sense. Like, there's individual cases, but macro-wise, it's like women are kind of like selling sex for the most part, who have the high followings. And then, like, for men, it doesn't really work that way.
I'll be honest with you. I know like the game.
Right?
The game.
But that's what I was about to say.
The
There's that whole
the homie, he figured out how to do it. Cause see, I'll be honest with you. I call certain stuff booms.
Right.
So like, your social media could be dormant, and you could drop a boom, and now everybody watching you again. You know what I'm saying? Cause there's so much traffic out there. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, like social media is one thing, but building a personal brand, who you are without a computer, because see, that's a lot of the things that we have now. It's very limited talented people in the world, but it's a lot of talented social media people.
Right.
That's the frustrating thing about like social media is when you jump, because I'll be honest, what I'm doing now, I see like 6, 7 other cats doing the same thing.
Right.
But when I did it 2 years ago,
That
I
wasn't
was out there naked.
Right.
You know, and then I go through doubt because it's like it's nobody. Like, keep going.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, maybe let me go to law school. Maybe it's not why I didn't get rich. And then I turn around and it's like a guy that I was next to 2 years ago.
Yep.
Like, you just jogged my whole junk. Like,
Exactly.
But you know how that is.
yeah, but
Like,
I'll be honest with you. Like, that's something I had to overcome with because I've never been a follower. I've never done anything that nobody else did.
Right.
And I thinking everybody's like that. But it's so many poachers. It's like, oh, he got 48. Let me do it now.
Especially in DC.
Oh, it's sick. It's sick.
You know,
It's
especially in
oh.
DC.
But I had to learn that. Like now, like I'll be honest with you. I threw out so many testers. Like now, I finally know who I am and who don't. Like it's good. I'm ready to play this game again.
Right.
You know, because I'm from Ohio. I'm from the Midwest, so we help. We very open and like DC is it's like House of Cards or Scandal.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it's like, now that I know this game, all right, let's play. Like, I'm ready to play.
Yeah.
Like, it's sick. But if you can make it here, my God.
Yep.
My God.
Have you ever lived in New York, though?
Nah, I've been in New York.
Okay.
But see, up there, it's not really branding, it's money.
That's
So
a good
like my
point.
guys up
Yeah.
on Wall Street, they don't even have to have a social media. Because
Oh,
I can
true.
pull up with a Wraith.
Yeah.
Like here, nobody really gets money. See, that's a undertone that nobody talks about. There's really no money here. This is a power city.
Right.
So you can have $150,000, but if you don't know Carson Byrd or da-da-da-da-da, it's pointless.
Right.
Well,
Like if the
that's all the time we have for this edition of I Wish You Knew. We'd like to thank all of you at home for watching. We'll catch you next time. But before we go, Carson, leave us with a piece of advice and also let us know how we can contact you, how we can follow you on social media.
Okay. I think the biggest advice that I would have for anybody in entrepreneurship, millennials, is once you make a decision, I got this saying, you have to jump off the porch and burn the house down. Meaning, a lot of us jump off the porch and keep the gate open. So if it doesn't work, we can go back in. But I've learned in life, straddling the fence is going to get straddled results. So if you believe in it, you know, jump off the house, burn the house down, and go build a mansion the next time you want to settle down. Social media, you can follow me at carsonbyrd.com. 1D CarsonByrdotcom across all platforms. You can also check me out. My branding or my event page is the Network DC, Word of Mouth Karaoke, and Just Know I'm Working, justknowimworking.com for inspiration and motivation and things of that nature.
Thank you, Carson.
Thank you.